to sit comfortably.
It's all good. The cropping, it's all good. I'm only kidding.
Did I mess it up?
I'm only kidding. It's just funny that.
Did I mess it up though?
No.
Okay. Well then, yeah, we're good.
No, certainly not.
I love to sing this close to the mic.
Yeah.
Especially
really lean into
karaoke when I give everybody COVID.
Nice. Do you sing often?
Yes, all the time, every day.
Mm-hmm. Like just to yourself mostly?
In the car to myself. I write and play music too. So part of that is like writing songs and performing. But yeah, I'm a singer. Nice. I don't have any training though, so I'm kind of bad.
Well, you've got the top 40 training, just what you've heard on the radio all your life.
Yeah, way more than that even, because I have a wide taste. Mm-hmm. But I try to sing like, whoever. It's surprising when you find genres where your voice makes sense.
Where does yours seem to fit, or where do you find it fitting?
My friends always say I sound really good if I try to sing like pop punk music, which I'm not into. Like Panic at the Disco.
Okay.
And not that, but like Fall Out Boy and stuff.
Okay.
Like I have that kind of a voice. Or like Green Day.
Okay.
But I wish I could sing more.
Like Alicia Keys or something?
No.
She's sort of my vocal idol.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I really like U.S. Girl's voice, actually, because it's, like, jazzy. But I don't know. I mean, I like soft voices and, like, airy voices, but I like... my favorite vocalist is always, like, MIA, actually.
Oh, okay.
Because she has a lot of... Her just natural, like, speaking timbre is nice, and then it really translates to her singing voice.
Yeah.
And it's very effortless, like, I'm too cool to care about if I sound, like, super good.
Where do you fall on, this is a polarizing figure, Bob Dylan, as a singer?
Whatever. I think it's fine, yeah.
Okay. Just whatever? You love it? You hate it?
I haven't listened to Bob Dylan very much.
No? Okay.
No. His stuff is like a zzz, right?
Yeah, you got
like
it.
Sting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I like that kind of singing. I think it's cool.
Nice.
I like it all.
Good.
Yeah. The only kind of singing I don't like is like super belty.
Like
Demi Lovato stuff. And even that, I still like it.
She's good. What did you think of, there's another question, the Super Bowl? Did you see any of that performance?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was really weird, so I have a lot of theories about it, but I think it was the first time that it's the Apple halftime show and not the Pepsi. Because my friends and I watched it, and then we went back and watched like Madonna and all these other like really high product. I think that Apple is broke and like doesn't have the money that Pepsi has.
You thought it was a bad production? I
thought it was cheap.
I have the exact opposite view.
Really?
I was like scared. Like this was like an Orwellian dystopian display. Just the camera panning, that shot of them like when they turned and
There is the Dutch
came,
angle. Yeah, the first Dutch angle at a Super Bowl.
The whole thing. I was just like, maybe it just blew me away because it was at the Super Bowl and I was expecting more of just like a crowd camera pan, the classic. Like, you know. So I was scared of it a little bit. It was a little like Orwellian to me.
Yeah, I mean the red was cool, and like I like Rihanna, and I thought the mix of the songs was good, like a good DJ mix.
Yeah.
But I'm really partial to Madonna's Super Bowl actually, because it's got everything. It's like funny and bad, but also amazing, and like, I don't know. I'm also just a big Madonna fan.
Are you?
Yeah, huge.
Nice. I had a stint of being a big fan of her in like high school.
Yeah. What did you like? What was it?
Her movies, for one, are what got me into her. And then, I mean, it's been so long I haven't really listened to her music, but whenever someone had her music on, or I would seek it out, and I don't know, just in love with her. Same with, oh man, I had such a crush. This is lame. I probably shouldn't say it. Not that I shouldn't say it, but it's lame because of your Instagram handle, but Britney Spears.
Yeah. No, I love Britney Spears.
When I was like a little boy, like 9.
Yeah. I wanted to be Britney Spears.
You wanted to be her?
I think so. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a Walkman. No, it was a CD player. It wasn't a Walkman, but I did have one when I was a kid. CD player in gym class, listening to Britney Spears singing Lucky.
Lucky. I have that album too. Oops. It was like the purple ombre CD. It's really beautiful. It has Lucky. My favorite on that one is, and I don't remember what it's even called, but she does this like really cool like like I don't know. She's a master of like really cool ad libs.
She really is.
But you can tell, it's funny with Britney, you can tell that she's so influenced by Michael Jackson.
Definitely.
Like
very
like,
derivative.
just
Yeah.
the like any of that. That's straight Michael, and she's good at it too. Because there's like other Michael Jackson copycats, but she was like committed to choreography and like
true professional.
She's a performer.
Yeah.
She's like not a musician necessarily, but she's a performer.
Right.
And Madonna's kind of like interesting because she is not a musician for most of her career, but some years she was like truly a musician. But she's not necessarily. She's never been She's never been a dancer ever. She's not a good dancer. But I think it's kind of ballsy to be like, because she's truly like just a rock star a little bit. Like she's like, I am as good as Prince or Michael Jackson, and it's like on some levels maybe, yeah.
I think so. I think she's right up there with them, no doubt. Especially like as a cultural icon.
Yeah, as she's perfect at being an icon. She's really good at it.
Yeah,
and I do actually like the music.
She's talented. She's a talented lady.
Yeah,
no
she's
doubt
cool.
about it. She's super dope.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us where we are? Can you introduce yourself to our guests?
Yeah.
And tell us what we're doing here.
Yeah. So I'm. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Please go ahead.
So I'm Cooper Gibson, or Cooper L. Gibson. I do like using my middle initial for professional things, because William Pope L., the artist, I don't know. I like the L as being part of it. And we are at my thesis exhibition called Backcountry at University Galleries, Illinois State University in Bloomington Normal. And yeah.
And this is your capstone thesis show.
Yeah,
for
some
your
would
MFA.
say.
For your
Some
MFA.
would say, yeah,
some
for
would
my
say.
MFA.
Or just the beginning of a body of work.
Yeah, it feels more like a beginning than anything.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a landing point. Like,
yeah,
it's a nice rest, but I'm not done with this work, which is good. I'm excited to not be done.
So, what is your? Well, first off, let's go way back. How long have you been an artist?
I think forever, but maybe calling myself one confidently, maybe only a few years. But I definitely like. I've always made art and drawn, and my family's always really encouraged it. And my family are artistic too. Like my grandpa is a savant genius and can like engineer anything, and like has built his own machines, and like is just like incredibly gifted. And his mom could draw and paint and do anything, and was like really artistically inclined. My aunt can draw and paint and make things. My mom can also draw and paint, and didn't know until really recently. She retired a few years ago and started drawing just randomly, and like they're great. I love my mom's drawings, and it's just like it's so, because my mom always liked to color growing up, and I hated coloring. Like I'd rather just draw, but she has like such a sensitivity to that kind of stuff, so it's really special. And my dad's creative too. He's more musically inclined, but he also draws, and he always draws the same drawing, which is like he only draws people in profile, and it's usually like him, but if it was like a rocker dude, they're really funny. I wish I had one to show.
Nice, like little caricatures of himself. Yeah,
they always have like a cool, it's like my dad when he was my age, so they always have like a mullet and like some stubble, and usually like an AC/DC t-shirt or something.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's that really cool.
In Kentucky as well? They grew up?
Yeah.
Your parents?
So yeah, we're all from there. My dad grew up across the street from where I grew up, so it's really close family farm. And my brother lives in that house now. And then my mom grew up like a county over, so they've always been there. And their parents were both from around too.
And we're talking rural.
Pretty rural. I mean, Kentucky is diverse like anywhere else, but it's not as rural as like Eastern Kentucky. Like when people think of like abject poverty in Kentucky, they're thinking of like Eastern Kentucky, and that's not quite true in my experience. And my parents are like, did grow up in poverty, but they're both like college graduates, and like definitely like they're not bootstrappers, but they had a lot of love and support, but they have like lifted themselves out of a certain level of poverty for sure.
Sure.
Which was more possible for people of their generation as well. But yeah, it's really interesting to think about. I mean, especially my mom. My dad, I think, had a bit more money than my mom growing up. My mom, especially her mom's family, really had no money at all. Like it was really, really crazy to think about. But people didn't need money necessarily back then either, because they could farm and stuff. Like they were able to sustain themselves.
More of a homesteading.
It was
kind of lifestyle.
Definitely.
So, what do your parents do? What did they do for work when they were in there? Or what do they do for their careers? Or
my
do they have...
mom was a special ed teacher.
Okay.
And just retired 2 years ago. And my dad also just retired, but he did like loan advising stuff, like loan counseling.
The financial world.
Yeah, but he did like farm machinery sales and stuff when he was younger.
Mm-hmm.
So he's had a couple different careers. But my mom was teaching all the way, and she went to school for hearing, specifically like deaf.
Like an audiologist, or I don't know, for like working with
people with
hearing
deafness.
impaired.
Yeah, hearing impaired. Yeah, that was what she really wanted to do, and then special ed kind of came up, and so she took that instead.
Awesome.
But that was her passion for a long time, was like knowing sign and like working with people with hearing impairments.
Cool, very cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Nice.
She's got a really big heart. Like my mom is like a super feeler.
Yeah.
My dad is too, but my mom, like, it's like scary how much she can like love and care for people.
Just lousy with empathy for everyone.
Yeah, it's really great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's rare.
Mm-hmm.
That is very rare.
Yeah.
And so where do you fit in the mix of the family? You've got siblings as well?
I have an older brother. Who's 5 years older than me, so he's your age.
Nice. And you guys grew up all of you, like in rural area in the farm?
Yep.
And your parents kind of commuted to schools and things?
Yep.
Nice. And did you go through like a traditional K through 12 school?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, public school all the way.
Nice.
Yep.
What was that like? What was your public school experience like in Kentucky?
Good. I mean, I had really smart classmates, and teachers would always say that my like year of students were really exceptional. So there must have been something in the water that year, because I mean, all of my classmates were super smart, and like a lot of them have went on to do cool things. So we had good teachers and really good. I mean, I loved school. I really loved school, even when I was like struggling with personal stuff. I think I loved school all the way through like junior year of high school, and then I think I got a little like depressed and didn't like school as much anymore. Mm-hmm. But I loved school, and my mom being a teacher helps, I think.
Yeah.
So
to help you coach you through that a little bit,
mm-hmm.
certainly. And then what'd you do for your undergrad? Where'd you go to college?
I went to the University of Kentucky, and I got a BFA in art.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you picked art pretty soon
mm-hmm.
after high school, or during high school you picked?
So I'm kind of thankful for this, but my high school didn't have really that many art classes. We didn't have like AP art or anything at the time, and I think we only had maybe 2 or 3 actual art classes that you could take, and I had kind of taken them all already, and my guidance counselor was like, there's no more for you to take, like you can't retake them or anything. So I really didn't have art classes at all through high school. I think I maybe had 1 or 2, and they were really boring, like basic, like fundamental stuff that I already knew because I made art already. Mm-hmm. And I was like already into like Yoko Ono and like these like
ahead of the curve.
I was really ahead of because I just liked it, and I had like unrestricted internet access, so I could find anything, which was amazing. So I knew about all this really cool art that I didn't really understand before I like went to art school, which was nice. Like I'm really thankful for that, and I was hungry for it. So when I got to school, I was like ready mm-hmm. to be an artist and like learn as much as I could and just make all the time.
Super cool.
Yeah, and I like just picked a degree and never moved from it.
Interesting. That's so rare.
Yeah, I was lucky, I guess, because I liked it so much, and like I was good at it, and my professors liked me. Mm-hmm. So,
and what's your experience been like here at ISU?
Really different. I came during the pandemic, like deep pandemic.
So when did you show up for your what was your freshman year?
2021 or 2020?
2020.
When did the pandemic start?
Spring of 2020, I think it was.
So then, I came in August of that year.
Okay, so right in the thick of it.
Yeah,
wow,
really crazy. So I was totally isolated because I don't know anybody here. I have family in the state, but they're really far away, and I don't know them that well, which was exciting but really scary and very sad. And I was super isolated and just really struggling. And I wanted to drop out. I had planned to drop out. But then I was like, well, I've already done a semester. I should just stay and see what happens. And I did, and it was fine, and I stayed. So
nice.
But really hard, very hard first year.
So really, your whole career here was through pandemic protocol.
Yeah, the first year especially. I mean, I was thinking the other day, last spring we were still masking. like, yeah, it's been super recent that things have felt like normal.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like I've been here a long time, and it's only been 3 years, so a lot changes. And I'm thankful for a lot of it. Like, I'm glad I came in such a difficult time when things felt so like shapeless. It was nice to have some structure.
Yeah.
And I was totally independent and on my own for the first time, which felt really good.
Mm-hmm.
So, but kind of scary and kind of lonely too.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Did you find it that you were somewhat more productive or felt more productive because of the time away? Or were you sort of just like living day to day in that time?
I had like forgotten how to be an artist, and like I was only out of school for 1.5 years, but I had like forgotten how to be an artist already.
Mm-hmm.
So that was hard. I made like a bunch of really shitty work my first year because I was just like relearning what to do.
Just getting reps in.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, like this is all really bad, and it was not that bad, but some of it was really bad. Which is good. Like, I'm glad it's a part of a 3-year program is that you have time to fuck up and just like be horrible.
Yeah.
And I was, I was 23 when I started, so I was really young and like felt really young still, and like thinking, just like feeling my brain now, feeling older and like more mature and calmer is like so nice. And I'm like, man, like I've grown up so much in the past 3 years, and I wish I could go back and tell myself like,
chill.
You need to calm down a little bit, but also like, you're not wrong, but don't worry about some things so much. You'll be okay.
Mm-hmm. So you have a greater sense of peace now than you did before?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Cool.
But no, it was so hard. Like, I can't express how hard it was, and I was really miserable for a long time. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm really thankful for my friend Amy, who's the only other. There's 2 of us in our cohort, and we like really got close because of that. But also just like before we got close, I really felt alone out here.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Show up in a whole new place and you can't. You're not even allowed to meet people.
Everything was closed,
Yeah.
and I would see people occasionally like around or like in the Zoom class, but that's just like not a way to live.
Yeah, I felt so gypped during that. I was in school during that time as well.
Yeah.
And I felt so gypped. I was pissed the whole time. Like,
I mean, it's funny now because I'm like, you wasted so much time, but like I barely used my studio and like would try to work at home a lot, and that was like not good for me. And I didn't remember how I filled my time, honestly, doing a lot of that. Like, I was busy with classes was part of it. Like, I had to take a lot of classes, but like, I don't remember how I filled my free time. Like, you know, because now I like, when I have free time, I like rest, and it feels. But I do kind of miss the fun of like being in class, but secretly being at Home Depot and like buying wood and stuff.
yeah.
Or like being able to, because I would be on camera, like I showed up, but sometimes I would turn my camera off and like chill.
Yeah, everyone took advantage of that.
It was nice.
No
it felt
one
good.
person. Yeah.
I definitely like remember, I don't play video games a lot, but I do remember like playing video games during like my the first grad reviews I was in here, like after I went, turning my camera off and just like listening. I slept too. I remember like being asleep during people's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad and it's unfortunate, but like, really, what
am I supposed to do?
What are you supposed to do? It's the whole situation all the way around is just shitty, and it's like a fraction of what it should be. Like, that's how I felt during those sorts of classes and things. Like, it just felt like a joke, felt like a waste. I know everyone's trying to make the best of it, but at a certain point, it was like just a little unbelievable.
Yeah. I also had like because I didn't visit the school or the city before I accepted, because we were in lockdown.
Oh, wow.
When I accepted.
They were still sending out like admission?
Mm-hmm,
wow.
Yeah. So I was like blindly accepted because I was like, well, it's the only school that offered me any money, and I want to go to grad school now. And I accepted, and like I remember feeling so like nervous when I got here and was like, oh, I don't know, like this feels really different and I'm not sure, and like it just felt really different. And then I got here and was like, I had no feel for like what like social political attitudes were like out here. So I was like, everybody is awesome and like I'm good. I had like tomato red hair and would wear like fake eyelashes to like the post office. And I was like, I'm like, everybody's amazing. And people were really nice. Like nobody ever did anything weird or said anything weird to me. But then you learn like over the few years, like, oh, it's actually like very conservative out here. And there's like, you know, like I definitely got away with a lot because I'm white. It was like a huge like learning curve of like, oh, there's like some real, because I'm from the South and it's not like that there. Where I'm from, it's like that people are racist, but it's secret. It's like quieter.
Interesting.
It's more subtle, and out here it's like, I mean, there was like a grad student that was murdered like a few semesters ago.
Oh, I
and
didn't
it's
know.
like, yeah. So it's like, it's very scary. I mean, it's really...
It was a hate crime? Like a...
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, the police haven't said that so much, but
More or
yeah,
less,
he was
yes.
a black graduate student who went missing, and his body was found in the river, and it was like mutilated. So it's really awful.
So fucked up.
Yeah. So.
Oh man.
And that just was shocking to me because I thought like Illinois, close to Chicago, like it's going to be like liberal, but I was living in a really liberal place in Kentucky before I moved here. So I had like a bubble that kind of burst where I was like, oh wait, like people, like it's different out here.
Things move slower. Information doesn't get here quite as quick. And
I do kind of like that. Like I remember like the graffiti around here, like somebody had painted the Kanye West like little bear that was his mascot like years ago.
Like 10 years ago?
Yeah, and I was like, that's the Kanye they're receiving, which is interesting
good
to
for
me.
them.
Yeah,
Good for
I mean,
them.
that's the good Kanye.
Yeah.
People, I remember trying to like bond with students over Donda because I was like, oh, Kanye is like Chicago, and a lot of my students come from like near Chicago, so maybe they'll like be really into it, and they were like, no, like we don't care.
We're over it.
Yeah, they were over it, and I didn't like Donda that much, so I was like, it's fine. I don't care about it either.
Yeah.
I'm a Yeezus. I love Yeezus.
You know, despite all of the terrible things he said, he's made good music.
Yeah,
way
Yeezus
back
is
when.
great. Yeezus is so good.
Yeah. This new rendition, not a fan, but
yeah, I don't like current era Kanye.
he needs to chill.
Yeah, but that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit more about the show then? You mentioned materials. Lots of these materials are from your family or have belonged to you or belong to family members, and you've worked them into a number of ways. We have sculptures in the gallery, installation in the gallery. These are just next to us here are stones from your family's property.
Mm-hmm.
What's the significance of the lineage and the items that surrounded you already, incorporating them into your work and into the show here?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I don't think I really thought about lineage so much until today when I was like explaining that stuff comes from my family, because by that I mean really like my most immediate like mom, dad, brother family unit, and not so much like this long history.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think part of that is just that's what has come naturally to me over time, is like using what I've got, and what I got tends to have to just be that stuff that I just have accumulated over the years. But I don't know, there's like a spark when I see something that I want to use, like in a material, like if material just like speaks to me, and that sounds so like, you know, BS, but it's true. And I think just like there are aesthetic qualities about things that I really appreciate and enjoy, and then I'll sort of find the like more the like conceptual meaning of like, oh, like the oriented strand board, where it's like the thing that attracted me to that was the way it looked. Like I liked the visual qualities of it, and then thinking about, oh, it's in the title that like this is dealing with orientation in a way that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Or like the and I love happy accidents like that too. Like the installation is called Pink Next Generation fiberglass installation, and I was like, I love the idea of like a pink next generation, like thinking about the future, this like soft pink, but like also like secretly like not dangerous, but like tough, gritty, like future.
Where everything's washed pink.
Yeah, I don't know, like finding those moments of like, oh, this thing is called this for a reason, but I'm gonna think I think it's called this for this reason, or like, you know, there's like a double meaning here.
Yeah, or assigning your own meaning as well.
Yeah. Which is, what did you see? People? Oh, cool.
Just some people hanging out in the gallery. Come on in. Don't it's cooler if you come in and are behind us.
Yeah.
So this is live. We're in the gallery.
Yeah, this is exciting.
You're totally not interrupting.
Yeah. I've always been attracted to that. I think like the secret. I feel like I'm touched, and I like see. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I have the vision, the sight.
Yeah, I get bouts of that, I think.
Yeah,
you know?
it feels great. I think that's like artist intuition is real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, intuition is real. Like I tell people that I have psychic dreams because everybody has like certain levels of psychic powers and ability.
Is that so?
Yeah, it is, and it's little things like intuition. Like,
yeah,
that's real. Like gut
Certainly.
feelings and stuff are just real.
When you just default to your own, what you feel is right.
Yeah.
Recently, I interviewed a professor of mine, and she was very into astrology, and she predicted some things. This was maybe 6 or 8 or 7 months ago, and they've come true. So she sort of has forced me to revisit this sort of concept.
It's real. I mean, that stuff is based on like ancient technologies and things.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't knock it until you try it.
Certainly. Yeah.
But it is interesting.
It is interesting.
And some of it is chance too. But
yeah,
I don't know. Intuition is like really cool, and knowing yourself and knowing people.
It's important, and you've probably experienced it. I know I have. When you do start to just follow it blindly, you can end up in some cool places.
Yeah, trusting yourself is hard. It's really hard, and I think depending on what kind of person you are, you're taught to not trust yourself more, or that you're wrong. And I think the more you can sort of question that belief, the more you can really start to like empower yourself.
Do you find that like most of your interactions or most of your daily things you do, in the routine, sort of rely upon that at all?
I don't know, because my routine is really random right now.
Yeah.
Because of school.
Well, just in any sort of interaction or event or whatever you're doing, like any sort of placement, do you find that you're leaning into your intuition?
It takes over because it's too hard to try to be someone else.
Yeah, to be contrived all the time.
It's really hard because I've tried so hard to like be, I'm like, oh, I need to be really professional this day, or I need to like think more about what I say, and it's like you can't. You just it's too hard for me. Anyways, it's too strenuous. I'd rather just like be myself and then apologize if like something's too much, or I mean, you shouldn't apologize for being yourself, but like be who you are, and then if somebody can't handle it or you say the wrong thing, there are ways to fix that or make it better.
I think you've got the right approach.
Being comfortable with being wrong is important to me too, in my work, but just in life. Like the more comfortable you get with being wrong,
count on it.
Your life is going to improve because people will like fuck with you and be like, okay, this person like doesn't know everything, and that's fine, and they can learn and change.
Yeah,
which is good.
I think to like truly have any sort of empathy or compassion as a person, you have to first like have it for yourself, right? Yeah. So to even begin to be helpful or productive in any other sort of compassionate way, you gotta most certainly feel it.
Right. I mean, I was saying to you earlier, like you just have to allow yourself to be. Yeah. Don't be a shitty person, but like, you're allowed to just like not know sometimes, or like make a mistake.
Mm-hmm. So do you find it frustrating? I'm asking because I do. Do you find it frustrating when you're interacting with people of the general population who are not that way, who obviously can't accept being wrong, or like don't have any sort of intuitive action, and they're just sort of like bureaucratical to the book, like, no, we're not experimenting, fuck that. Yeah. Is that frustrating for you?
I love those people sometimes. Some of my friends are like that.
Really?
But there's a difference in being like a type A, or like I have, I always tell my Libra friends, I'm like, Libras have their own rules. And if you know that, then you can like get along with Libras. But I think like, I feel bad when people struggle so hard with like being wrong or making mistakes, or because I know that it's coming from a place of fear and like pain and shame.
Right.
Like people don't get that way just because.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah. It still is annoying.
But it is annoying, and it's hard, especially when people make it really, like Kanye, like make it really hard to forgive them, or make it really hard to see their pain because of, Yeah, it's hard, and it's even with work like this, like, I try not to be very sensitive, but like, I think I was telling this earlier, like the most kind of embarrassing is if you're like near your own work and somebody says something hurtful and they don't realize you're the artist.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I really like bared my soul for you to be like, that's gay in a pejorative way. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Or like, that's gross. Like my friend sent me, we have flyers up around the school, like promoting our shows. And on the flyer, it's like a still from the Miss Piggy video, and I'm like topless. And somebody like flipped the flyer over. And I was like, maybe it was an accident, maybe it fell and they just stuck it back up wrong. But, you know, it's hard not to be like, oh, that was an intentional, like, homophobic ? Act, because it's like, I think, especially when you present images like that, where it's like, I can't tell if this person is a man or a woman, or if they're a gay or straight, like, you know, I think there's like, an image like that, people are probably more offended by that it's like a hairy lady than that it's like gay. Or that it's like a fat hairy lady, you know?
Yeah.
So it's complicated, but it does hurt. It hurts when it happens.
It hurts, but I guess that also means like, that's like, as an artist, you're going to put yourself out in the public eye, and that scrutiny is there, no doubt. But that's sort of like crowd engagement.
Yeah,
it
like, makes me feel like a rock star. I'm like
know.
Marilyn Manson. I'm nasty.
You've got haters.
I've got haters. I mean, haters are my motivators.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just feels crazy because it's like in a college setting, it's so easy to forget that people have like different POVs that don't necessarily like align with yours, and that they like might be a little bigoted.
Yeah, people. Yeah, it turns out.
Yeah,
they don't even realize a lot of the time.
They don't even realize. But I do love the idea of like that was enough to make you mad, like a topless person.
Yeah,
it's so funny because it's like you see topless people at the beach, like.
Well, just even that, like the context, like this is a poster on a wall for an event.
At an art school. And it's like you haven't seen anything more controversial than like a person with their shirt off.
Yeah. And you mean you didn't watch the news today? You're not
you
like
don't watch
angry?
Porn. You know what I mean? It's like people are so, it's so wishy-washy.
It's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, okay, cool. Like whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's funny.
It's cool. Well, hopefully they come and see the show.
Yeah. Who knows? They might have already. I have no idea who it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think that's also, I don't necessarily like that kind of reaction because it is like scary and it does make me feel bad, but it's also like, well, I did something, you know, at least there was like you said, at least there was a reaction. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would much rather do something, and this is like, I don't want to like promote, you should do stuff that makes people angry. 'Cause like I've seen work like that and it's bullshit. And we have artists in the program that are making work like that, and it's bullshit. But it's like, you know, I don't know. It's just it's like that's just my body. Like that's just my body. I didn't make myself look that way. Like I just look like that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's like you're having such a strong reaction to a thing that like wasn't even a decision, really.
Yeah, I don't know. People don't think that way though. People don't put that much thought into it. They're instantly like aggravated for some reason. Yeah. They don't ever stop to even consider why they might be aggravated. They just are aggravated, and they react, and they're just petulant in everything they do, probably. Yeah. And it's unfortunate.
I miss the old days when you were supposed to see naked people in art school.
Yeah, the good old days.
The good old days.
Do they not do figure drawing?
They do.
They do.
They
do.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't do Miss Piggy figure drawing.
No?
No.
Did you ask?
I should ask. I should offer. I could have done like a public like drawing workshop where I pose or something. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not into that kind of performance right now for that character.
The live thing, yeah.
I don't, because I used to do live performances, and I still do, and I still like them and think they have their place. But for this body of work, because I really want it to read as like sensitive, and like it is humorous, and there's obviously a lot of humor in my work. But I think, like, I don't want that to be the whole thing, that it's, like, a joke, because it's not a joke. Yeah. I'm not joking. Right. And I think the Miss Piggy character, because it is so, like, kind of, it is, like, funny in a way that it would be hard to, I mean, I think it would be disarming. Like, I do think that if I showed up and was being, like, crazy, people would not think it was funny. They'd be like, this is a crazy person.
In this setting, probably.
Yeah, which is great. Like, I love that. So.
But it's the sort of... Like, you know, if the work tells a story and your life is the work, then that being another chapter that's in the story is super cool. And that they're sort of like incestual in a way. Yeah. That's like, you know, your persona. That's amazing. It's really cool to have something that can both be humorous and bring people in but also this being the exploded view of that, where it's the interpersonal things and the more narrative.
Yeah. I mean, humor is a great tool to like disarm people or just to like get them to engage with the work at all.
Yeah.
Because I think so many people are really afraid of art because it's so serious.
Yeah.
And it is serious, but you can still have fun, or there's ways to get people in.
Yeah.
And enjoy. I mean, like I love pop music because it's really good at that, where it's delivering maybe something kind of serious.
Yeah.
Under this like guise of being catchy.
Oh, well, I mean, lots of art making is just play.
Yeah.
People forget, or the general population forgets.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's neat to have that sort of element, or be able to call that kind of element when it suits the story, the narrative.
Exactly.
I like that very much.
Cool.
So, what else should people know about this body of work in particular? You explained to me in the other format. We kind of went through everything and talked a little bit about everything, but specifically, is there anything you want viewers to walk away with?
Yeah. So the mantra that I kind of repeat in the writing is, we have always been here. And the thesis, like the thing I really want people to know is that like the rural and the queer exist together, and that is not a new or not necessarily that exciting of a thing. Like it's just real, and there's always been queerness in the rural, and there's always been ruralness in the queer, and that those things coexist and have and will continue. And now with like climate change, will continue to exist together more as people migrate away from major cities and coastal areas. And because I think, I was telling you about like Kentucky passing an anti-drag bill in Tennessee, like there are these illusions by like the conservative right that there's like some sort of surge in like LGBT identity, that it must be some kind of like nefarious plot, and it's like that's just not true. And those, I'm referencing artists and people I know that they lived in like the late 1800s and stuff, like in Kentucky, and so it's not new and it's not dangerous. It just is, and it's not going anywhere. Even if you try to make it illegal, if anything, that'll make it more present. So it's like, and it is good is the other thing too. I think not just that it exists, but that it does good, and that it's like improves the world is important to me too. Like it's magical, and there's like fun. It's one of our last like unexplained phenomenon, really, because there's no actual scientific proof to prove that like gender or sexuality are like inherently biological, and it's kind of like how magical that something so like truly phenomenal can just happen any day to anybody, and we get to witness that and live amongst it.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Very much so. It's sort of an enigma as far as the science is concerned.
Like dinosaur. It's like, imagine if your best friend was a dinosaur. Like, so cool.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Very cool. Yeah. So, are you excited for what's coming next then?
Yeah. It doesn't feel real that I'm done, because I'm not done. Like this is a show. It's not the show. Mm-hmm. So that feels good. And I'm really excited about responses I've gotten from the work and responses to the installation, and knowing like what I want to change and do differently and what I want to show together, and, like making connections now with curators and writers and doing things like this to try to network. And networking is so lame to talk about networking.
It's lame when you say networking.
I know.
Or if you call like people you're working with your clients.
Client is awful. I also kind of hate, I don't know, like people. I'm just a person, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm just a person. You're just a person. And yeah, networking is bad, but it is good, and you should do it.
Well, it can be fun.
Hate calling it that, though. I agree. Connection
when it's
is good.
When it's in that sort of like beneficial format, or like perceived beneficial format. Yeah, it's lame.
I only want to call it networking if I don't like the person.
Yeah, I'm going to this networking event.
Yeah, that's the impersonal, like blue white collar way of saying it. Like, oh, I'm gonna go network.
Mm-hmm. Definitely the corporate world version of it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited. Like, I have a tendency to drop everything and move on to the next thing kind of fast. And I don't think I can just drop this body of work, because it is so large and it's so rich with things I could do. And even the work that exists now, there's still things that I could do. And just thinking about different ways of installing it and where to show it is exciting. But I do also have like a totally left field like pop music project that I'm like dropping in the summer.
Okay.
That like is maybe related just through that it's me doing both things, but it's like under a different name. It's a persona. It's like dealing with rural identity in a really, really like surface way right now, which I'm maybe not so proud of. But I'm excited about that, and it feels good to have something else to work on.
Nice. A full album?
EP.
An EP?
And then full album. And
okay.
Then, yeah.
Super cool.
I have like the fantasy. I have like the EP is very done. It's like ready to come out basically. And then the album is a lot of it's written, but it still needs a lot of work too. Because I taught myself how to produce while I was in grad school, just as like a fun side thing. When I was feeling like stressed about something, it's pleasurable to make music, and so that's been really rewarding to know how to do that. And I'm like good now, which is cool because I was really bad for a long time.
That's how it goes. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Super cool. That's exciting. So yeah, you're working in many different media then?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I sort of want to just be like artists that I really admire. People like, do you know Lydia Lunch?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know how, but I really admire her because she's just like always doing stuff, and it's all kind of different from each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes it's music, sometimes it's writing. And she's like this really aggressive persona that like, I like people like that just like,
kind of dabble project
they
based.
They just work.
Yeah, no, I am jealous of people like that because like I do a similar thing where I'm it's strange to say out loud, but like writer, producer, director, photographer,
right,
sculptor, painter, like
right.
The list goes on, and you just keep collecting these cool things, and it's like, oh yeah, I did that. I don't know.
But it feels. I mean, that if it works for you, it works for you. Like some again, people's brains just work differently. Like. I'm envious of artists who are like, I'm a painter, and I don't even call myself the artist word. I just say painter.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that is not me. I'm an artist. Like, I don't even like saying like multimedia artist because I'm like, that's still too
vague. Not.
I like artist. I'm like,
artist,
it means something, and what it means is what I do.
It's a badge of honor.
Yeah.
Yeah. A debaser.
Yeah.
So, and then do you have somewhere? I'm sorry. Bad question.
Wait, no. What is the question?
I was going to ask if you have somewhere to go take the show, but that's so unimportant. I want to ask you.
I have places I want to show it.
You want to show it?
I don't think I haven't established those connections yet.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I do have a few studio visits this week over spring break, which are exciting.
Nice. So it's already moving around.
Yeah.
I'll be excited to see when the two things merge together. Are you doing anything cool for your gallery opening, which is
It is March 22nd, 4 to 6.
Yeah.
And which you should come if you want to.
Yeah, I'd love to.
And no, I don't think so. I think it'll be really regular.
Just regular, okay.
Yeah.
Hors d'oeuvres and walking around, checking it out. Very cool.
We can't have alcohol, which is a bummer because I could really use it for something like that.
It's okay. You could always.
I know. I have a little plan.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, so a couple more questions, just like sort of vague. Now, this is something I just like to ask creative people because they always have such interesting answers.
Yeah.
Now, imagine for a moment it's X amount of years in the future and you're happy. And you've done something, you've created something, or you've changed something. And you're giving a speech about it. What do you tell people your first move was?
My first move to make that thing happen.
So envision for a moment the future. Yeah. We as humans often live that way, thinking of the future, looking forward. And then fill that space with something you've done, something you've changed, created, innovated, or something that was just interpersonally very successful.
Yeah.
What do you think you would tell people your first move was?
The thing I always tell people about activism, and I'm not an activist necessarily, I'm interested in activism, but I'm not an activist currently. But the thing I always tell people is that what's important to me about activism or things that are activism adjacent is what does your immediate community need? So like, who are your friends, and first of all, if your friends don't need anything, what does that say about you as a person? That maybe your friend group needs some diversifying. But I think about, what do my friends need? Are their needs being met? Are they living happy and joyful and full lives? And if they're not, what can I do to help? And so I think that's really important, like starting small and working big. So I think that would be the first move is just asking, like, what do you need to, or what needs a tricky word, but like, what is it? Like, what is the thing that you need to live that life? Because it's usually small. I mean, most stuff is money. Really, I mean, for most, marginalized folks, under capitalism, money is the answer to improve their lives. And that's tricky if you're also a person with no money. But you might know somebody who has money, or you might know a way for them to get money or get resources that they need. Mm-hmm. So I think just not being afraid to ask, and also not being afraid to like use your power, if you have any, to like get what you need for your people.
Okay. Do you find that, is that something that you want to get into as you move through your life and career? Like more of a providing of resources or allocating resources somehow for the impoverished?
Only in that personal way.
Only in the personal way?
Yeah.
The most immediate way?
I think activism is amazing, and people who pursue that work are awesome, but I'm concerned about small change. What can I do in my immediate community to help my people and my friends? And that's important to me. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What's something young people should know?
Young people should know history, major. They don't know anything right now. And they need to know history. They need to know how to be critical of history, too, and the way that history is presented. Because without those connections, you just don't understand the world. Like, you need to know that stuff. So history is really important.
Yeah. Where can people find your work? Are you on the internet anywhere?
I'm on Instagram at not Britney Spears Official, and Britney Spears is spelled BritneySpears. And I am on Facebook, but please don't look for me there, because that's embarrassing. And yeah, that's Instagram is the best way now. But I will make a website eventually. And I will, if you follow me on Instagram, you will find out about it.
All right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What else? Is there anything else that you want everyone to know about the show? First off, tell us again, give us the date one more time again.
The show is open now until April 2nd. And the reception is March 22nd, 4 to 6 p.m.
Awesome.
And I want people to know that they are loved and belong here in this world, in this life, and that they literally cannot take that away from you. So don't let them.
Beautiful.
And if you're straight, you need to like get the fuck up and work right now. So that's it.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Cooper.
Thank you. Okay, cut. That's cool.